You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
I got to ask Cheryl about this here because what was real interesting you talked about the House, the War Powers resolution. Control room, I've sent you a couple of videos, so please pull those up and let me know if you can play them from the control room. Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, she spoke on the floor as well. When the resolution was passed, Anthony Brown of Maryland was actually in the speaker's chair, and so we had that video as well. So we'll show you in just a second. But here's what's interesting about this here. Matt Gaetz, who's one of the biggest Trump loudmouth folks out there, spoke in favor of the resolution, and Trump is pissed off. I mean, this is a guy who cannot stand any Republican speaking against him.
Well, yeah, I mean, he can't stand anybody speaking against him, period, because he's arrogant and stupid and doesn't understand how the law works and how to run a government. So none of that should be surprising when you're dealing with arrogance, ego on this level. That Matt Gaetz did that was, of course, shocking. Because, of course, Matt Gaetz has been a huge apologist, as you just said, Roland, for this entire time. But it shows you that there's some splintering off now with the situation. We're seeing some of the libertarian wing of the Republican Party in Congress and in the persons of Rand Paul and Mike Lee break off from this foolishness because it is dangerous. I mean, it's hugely dangerous when you have somebody stupid and arrogant and egotistical making decisions with our military and putting people's lives in danger and doing it in a very cavalier and stupid way. And so people, I think, are now legitimately starting to become afraid, including some of the members of the Republican Party.
And I think Gaetz has been very clear that he was not in favor of escalating tensions in a region that we've yet to extricate ourselves from. So, I mean, in some ways this was expected, but I think probably for Donald Trump it came as a shock because he has been very clear that he expects Republicans to be in lockstep with every decision he makes, no matter how careless or dangerous. And last week, I mean, Malcolm Nance laid out very carefully what the stakes are in this region so that Gaetz and others would say, we need to pump the brakes a little bit and we need to put some parameters around this guy because he is hurtling us to another war. It's not just sort of hyperbolic, right? It's a real possibility. We are here and we're on the precipice. And I think, Donald Trump going any further to escalate tensions is not something that anybody wants. So Gaetz and others said no.
Mustafa, here's what I find to be just, again, so interesting about this is that, wow, Republicans are now realizing that, yeah, there's a thing called congressional oversight. Remember that thing that y'all always talked about when Obama was president? Right. Wow. It's amazing how that thing comes back when you go, you know what, we kind of have a job to do.
Exactly. There's supposed to be these checks and balances in the system. They have, sort of touted this for generation after generation, following the rule of law, making sure that we are honoring the process. And, over the last 3 years, that has become something that has no longer been followed. And yes, Trump is upset because he knows if the country has an opportunity to actually slow down and analyze and begin to think once again, then they will realize that these policies and these actions that he's been moving forward on, as the panelists have shared, are dangerous, they're destructive, and they could actually also impact our economy. So there are a number of different components that are a part of this that, some of these members who happen to be on the Republican side are starting to actually do the overall analysis and say, me tying myself so tightly to this individual may end up coming back to bite me.
Well, I just think it's quite interesting to watch all of this stuff play out, to watch exactly how our Republicans is like, well, yeah, Senator Mike Lee, that was the worst military briefing ever.
Right.
And then Trump, then, of course, lying Trump goes, I was told it was the most perfect ever.
Right.
I mean, it's such a joke, literally watching what they have to say. Folks, let me know if we have the Eleanor Holmes Norton. If y'all can play that, please, because, well, go ahead. But please, folks, go ahead and play it. This was what Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton had to say on the floor of the House today before they voted on the War Powers resolution.
I thank my good friend for yielding. Congress has long been absent without leave from its constitutional responsibility to authorize war before it occurs. From Vietnam to Iran, the verdict on the War Powers Act is clear. You lose it if you do not use it. Congress chafes at outside presidential power, but has failed to exercise its own advice and consent power on war. Iran has stepped back for now from the brink of war following the killing of General Soleimani. But a strong bipartisan 69% of the American people say that war with Iran is now more likely. No wonder, considering that we have just deployed 15,000 more troops to the region. Trying to get answers after the fact, as Congress did in yesterday's briefing, yielded frustration, not answers. Unchecked executive power unbalances the safeguards against arbitrary power the framers built into our Constitution. With passage of today's resolution, we will reclaim that balance by reinserting Congress into decisions to go to war.
Gentleman from Texas.
Again, that was Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. I think one of the things that we're seeing here, Lauren, we're also seeing chess at play. Again, you look at, and I want to get y'all thoughts on this. Speaker Nancy Pelosi announcing today that she is going to send over the articles of impeachment to the Senate next week. How many of y'all also trust Senator Susan Collins? Apparently, she said today that she is working with Republicans to allow witnesses. Y'all, I don't believe nothing Susan Collins ever says.
Yeah, I mean, the Susan Collins dance.
Not now thing.
The Susan Collins dance is the dance that is danced every time an issue comes up to where we think it's going to be 50-50 or some close vote in the Senate. She always, almost every single time, and I'm trying to struggle to remember a time when she has not voted for the on the Republican side. But, I mean, if you can get that cheap attention, which she can get playing this game of acting like a moderate, she'll go ahead and get it. It is interesting to see Nancy Pelosi send the articles over to the Senate right at the time when this whole dangerous wag the dog thing is playing out. I can't imagine that Mitch McConnell actually thinks. I mean, if you gave him sodium pentothal and said, okay, what do you really think about this? He probably would be thinking to himself, maybe we should have the Vice President Pence in power, because this moment really, I think, fixes the mind on why this person that we have in office is extremely dangerous, even though these articles have nothing to do with this particular episode happening in the Middle East.
Mustafa?
I don't trust Susan Collins either. I remember the previous votes on a number of very important issues. I remember Kavanaugh. I remember a number of different things. And, when it comes time to actually honor humanity, to stand up and do the right thing, folks continue to fall short. So I'm not impressed, nor am I surprised if she continues to follow the path that she has.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.